Chapter 4 examines the complex and pivotal role of the Chinese government in driving industrialization, emphasizing its intervention in key sectors like liquid crystal displays, LCD, and photovoltaics, PV. These examples reveal how government strategies, partnerships, and policies have shaped economic trajectories, enabling technological progress and global competitiveness while navigating the challenges of market dynamics and systemic inefficiencies. The discussion illustrates the Chinese governance model's adaptability in addressing the imperatives of development, resilience, and innovation. The process of China's industrialization has never been straightforward. At its core is a distinctive synergy between the state and market, blending elements of control with market-oriented reforms. This dynamic interplay contrasts starkly with the dichotomous frameworks of laissez-faire capitalism or rigid command economies. It reflects a pragmatic approach where state intervention is molded to the particularities of industries and their stages of development. Government participation has not been uniform but deeply contextual, shaped by factors such as technological barriers, global competition, and domestic market needs. By understanding the specific cases of LCD and PV industries, one gains insight into how China has navigated the complexities of industrialization. The LCD industry, for instance, vividly illustrates how government intervention can fundamentally reshape industrial landscapes. In the early 2000s, China relied heavily on imports for LCD panels, a key component of consumer electronics. At the time, global production was dominated by Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. This reliance not only exacerbated trade deficits, but also exposed the Chinese economy to external vulnerabilities. Yet, the Chinese government was determined to develop its own LCD industry, understanding its strategic importance in consumer electronics and broader technology markets. A critical turning point was the rise of BOE Technology Group. Initially an old state-owned enterprise producing vacuum tubes, BOE transformed into a global leader in LCD production through sustained government support. The Beijing municipal government played a decisive role in BOE's growth by coordinating loans, providing equity investments, and offering policy incentives. These included syndicated loans worth billions of dollars and direct financial aid for building advanced production lines. For example, Beijing spearheaded BOE's acquisition of cutting-edge LCD production technology from a South Korean company in the early 2000s. The government also encouraged local financial institutions to extend credit, ensuring that BOE could weather market downturns. In the 2010s, BOE's growth was further bolstered by partnerships with provincial governments in Chengdu and Hefei. Local authorities offered substantial equity investments and facilitated the establishment of high-tech industrial parks to support the LCD ecosystem. This collaborative approach ensured that BOE could not only expand production, but also integrate itself into a broader network of suppliers and consumers. Over time, Chinese companies achieved significant breakthroughs in technology and production capacity, securing nearly 40% of the global LCD market by 2020. This development dramatically reduced costs for consumers worldwide while fostering the growth of downstream industries in China, such as smartphone and television manufacturing. However, BOE's journey was not without challenges. The LCD industry is characterized by cyclical demand and fierce global competition. Early investments were often followed by sharp downturns in panel prices, leading to significant financial strain. In one instance, BOE faced losses exceeding billions of yuan when LCD panel prices halved during the production phase of a new line. These challenges underscore the importance of adaptability in both government policy and enterprise strategy. BOE adjusted by shifting from debt-reliant financing to equity-based models, securing buy-in from provincial governments and private investors alike. The story of the photovoltaic industry follows a similarly tumultuous yet transformative trajectory. In the early stages of its development, the PV industry in China was largely export-oriented, driven by demand from Europe and the United States. Western countries, particularly Germany, had implemented generous subsidies and feed-in tariff policies to encourage solar power adoption. Chinese companies capitalized on these opportunities, rapidly scaling production and exporting low-cost solar panels. By the late 2000s, Chinese PV firms had become dominant players in the global market, leveraging economies of scale to outcompete rivals in Europe, the US, and Japan. Yet, this success came with significant risks. The 2008 global financial crisis and subsequent austerity measures in Europe led to a sharp reduction in solar subsidies, undermining demand for Chinese exports. Additionally, the United States and European Union launched anti-dumping and countervailing duty investigations against Chinese PV products, imposing punitive tariffs. These measures devastated China's PV industry, pushing many firms, including prominent players like Suntech Power, into bankruptcy. In response, the Chinese government implemented policies to support the industry during its darkest hour. Domestic feed-in tariffs were introduced, requiring power grids to purchase solar electricity at fixed rates, creating a stable local market. Local governments also offered land use incentives, low-interest loans, and direct subsidies to PV manufacturers. These measures helped Chinese companies stabilize and refocus on the domestic market, which gradually became the world's largest consumer of solar energy. As the PV industry matured, technological advancements and economies of scale drove production costs down dramatically. Between 2010 and 2019, the cost of solar modules dropped by over 85%, making solar energy increasingly competitive with traditional fossil fuels. By 2020, Chinese companies accounted for over 80% of the global PV production capacity across key segments such as polysilicon, wafers, and modules. This transformation reflected not only government support but also the industry's ability to innovate and adapt in a highly competitive environment. The evolution of these industries highlights the broader strategic tools employed by the Chinese government, including the creation of industrial guidance funds. These funds, which emerged in the 2010s, represent a novel approach to leveraging state resources for industrial development. By acting as limited partners in venture capital and private equity funds, government-backed guidance funds channel public capital into high-tech and strategic industries. This model enables the government to attract private investment, amplify the impact of public funds, and ensure market-oriented management of resources. While these tools have driven remarkable industrial achievements, they also reveal the challenges inherent in China's development model. Overcapacity, inefficient investments, and the potential for corruption remain significant risks. For example, the PV industry's rapid expansion led to widespread overproduction in the early 2010s, driving down prices and forcing weaker firms out of the market. Similarly, government-supported LCD projects sometimes struggled to achieve financial sustainability, requiring continuous intervention. China's industrialization underscores a critical lesson. Government intervention can accelerate development, but it must be balanced with market mechanisms to sustain growth and innovation. The Chinese government's ability to adapt its strategies, shifting from subsidies to equity investments, encouraging private sector involvement, and emphasizing innovation, has been key to overcoming challenges. However, achieving long-term sustainability requires greater attention to efficiency, transparency, and market discipline. In conclusion, the government's role in industrialization is a defining feature of China's economic model. By investing in strategic industries, fostering innovation, and addressing market failures, the Chinese state has enabled transformative changes in sectors like LCDs and photovoltaics. These experiences provide valuable insights into possibilities and limitations of state-led development in a rapidly changing global economy.